As requested, we'll talk about Julius, the Wizard King full build and guide in this video. Before we start his build, let's talk about his importance. The one and only Julius, the Wizard King, is a great unit, especially at the beginning of the game. Even though he got released way back and he's actually an old unit, still he is pretty decent and can be really useful and also fun to play. First of all, he's an attacker and can do heavy damage with proper build. And second, he's a blue unit that has an advantage over red enemies when doing red dungeon and other red challenges. And I've been using him myself for a very long time until I got Lumiere, the first Wizard King. He's obviously better than Julius, and I also have a full guide about him. I'll put the link in the description. Make sure to check it out. But he's a limited character, and until his banner shows up, no one can summon him. On the other hand, this Julius is also limited, but he can be summoned when you just start the game with the guaranteed special summon banner. Now, with that being said, let's jump to his build. First, overview and skills. First skill has 95% base attack, inflicts 5% reduced mobility debuff on the enemy, and if you land a crit, also grants all of your allies 5% increased mobility buff. Second skill, you can upgrade it to 95%. It's AoE, attacks all of the enemies, increase speed level 3 buff for 1 turn, so 55% increased speed, and then a time stop debuff on the enemy for 2 turns. So first of all, it's AoE, you attack all of the enemies and you have 50% chance to inflict this time stop, which is insane because it increases the cooldown of skill number 2 by 1 turn and then freezes it. So this basically means that it will increase the cooldown turn of the second skill of the enemies by 1. So this will be basically 4 turns for the enemy. So any cooldown number they have, it will increase it by 1 and it will make them longer to launch their second skill again. And even if they don't have any cooldown, it's like their turn to do the second skill, you again will increase it by 1 so they can't do their second skill. That's why this is so effective, and most enemies that have broken second skill, you can just increase the cooldown of it with Julius. Now the cherry on the top obviously is a special skill. He stuns the enemy, guaranteed stun, reduces their mobility by 30%, and when you kill them you get an extra turn. So you basically either stun them, if you don't kill them you can stun them so they'll be out of the play, and then you can kill them next turn, or you kill them and you get an extra turn to attack other enemies again. That's why his ult is broken, because you either stun them if you don't kill them, or if you kill them obviously you'll get an extra turn to attack again. When you look at his passive, his unique regular LR passive, for every 15 speed grants 3% increased damage dealt. So he has, well, this is not base but it's 104, so it's between I think 102 when you start. So yeah, when you just get the character is 100 speed, and then when you level him up to LR will be 104, and then when you go to 125 max him out will be 106, and when you enhance him dupe level 5 will increase to 109. So let's just say like 0 dupe, you max him out to 125 with every 15 speed. I guess that would be about 6-7 times, so there will be like 21% increased damage dealt. You'll have this unique passive on him every time when you attack, deal 21% increased damage dealt, and then every turn grants time accumulation, stacks up to 5 times, and increases damage dealt by special skill, the alt, by 10%, so 50% more. With this one, like let's say 70%. On top of this, that'll be 240, 245, maybe 250. That's a really high number. I'm not saying he's the best DPS in the game, like this Lumiere has 230 flat and then increases with his passive. This Asta has 300 flat and then increases again with his passive. So we got better DPS in the games, but still this Julius works really well, especially he's a blue unit and can deal heavy damage. I should talk about his combined skill as well, because he has 50% increased damage dealt buff when he has a buff on himself, which he usually has because of his passive and also with your team members. And so this will be 135% combined attack, so that will be higher than his regular skill, like the first skill. That's why you need to consider his combined attack as well, because this does lots of damage, to be honest. When you can do the combined attack with his partner and then do ult with him, and that will, you know, make it even higher. That's what's good about him. Now let's talk about his skill page. He has 2 skill pages in the game. This is the first one that came out. With his second skill, you remove the mobility of one of your enemies. So like the purple Vanessa, like you'll reduce the mobility to 0. And also you have a chance to reduce 10% mobility on all other enemies. And this is super useful because basically you're gonna remove one of the enemies out of the game. Also his passive, 10% increase all attack, which is great. Obviously you need attack on him. But the second skill, you see here number 2, the second special skill page that came out for Julius is even more broken. This skill 2 is the same, but the passive is just insane. 50% chance to attack after granting 15% increased damage dealt per 10 speed. So we just talked about his speed. Let's say like 100 speed, okay? You get 150% increased damage dealt. Obviously you can increase it to 165, but let's just say 150 for now. So you have an additional 150% increased damage dealt. This is insane. Like you can one-shot the enemy for sure. So those were his 2 special skill pages. Unfortunately, I don't have them. As I said, he's also a limited character and you can't summon for him or his skill page easily. But if you can get them, obviously do the second one, go for the second one, and it'll be insane. Now, if you don't have it like me, you can again use these general ones, increase all attack. This is basically the same as his first special skill page, so no difference over here with the passive. Or just do this one, 7% damage dealt, anything that increases his attack or damage. Other than that, the special ones over here, this Viego is insane. I'm using it on my Lumiere, so you get 25% increased damage dealt when your HP is more than 50%. This one too, you get 15% increased damage dealt when doing skill number 2, which is something really useful for you. But yeah, again, you want to focus on his damage in total. Now let's talk about his dupe and enhancement. So enhancing him increases his magic attack, crit rate, and speed. All 3 are pretty useful for him. Obviously, he is an attacker. You need these 2 stats. And with the passive, the unique passive that we just talked about, speed will be pretty useful. And other than that, speed is always something you want to consider, because especially when you're an attacker, you want to deal damage and attack sooner than the enemy for sure. So stat-wise, pretty great. But the thing that makes him more impressive is his passive, the enhanced dupe passive. So when you do level 2, if defeated for the first time, upon receiving damage, grants temporal reversal, which means restores to a state of 45% HP. So basically, if you die one time, you get revived again by yourself. You don't need any healers. You're gonna revive by yourself up to almost 50% of his own HP. And if you max dupe him, you'll get 100% HP. So you revive again. Basically, they have to kill you 2 times. So let's say you were about to launch an ult, they killed you, you revive back again, and then you just go all out on them with your ult or any other skill. Also, the other good thing about this is that all debuffs and everything that was on Julius will clear out. So you'll be basically fresh, like you just started the game, and you have Julius with 100% HP to go crazy on the enemy. That's why he's a must dupe unit. Like with 0 dupe, he still works pretty well. You can see I only have dupe 1 with no extra passive, just a little extra stat, and I can still clear all the challenges. So if you max dupe him, obviously he'll be a nuke and does pretty well in PvE and also PvP. For the talents, obviously you want to focus on attack. So over here, you either go with magic attack or the crit damage. I like crit damage more because I can get the main magic attack stats easier with his gears. So I do crit damage over here. Damage dealt, and crit damage again. You can again go with this one when you're attacking a boss, or magic attack 7%, so it depends on what you prefer. Also this one 2.5 increased crit rate, stack up to 5 times, so that'll go to 12.5% if you need the crit rate, and you don't need this obviously for Julius. So either is these two together, magic attack and crit rate, or damage dealt and crit damage. Over here I haven't opened these slots yet, but you want to obviously go for defense, and defense again 4% with crit res at the start of the wave to just make him a little more tankier. And for the stone over here, I'll talk about that in a bit, and you want to go for defense. Let's just check the support over here. You want to go with these two. 20% chance to grant a reduced skill 2 cooldown by 1 turn again, so you want to attack with the second skill sooner. It's AoE, you attack all of the enemies and also increase their cooldown. And this one as well, accuracy and penetration, so that you can deal more damage. This is good when you're attacking other mages that have defense up and also damage res and crit res. You can kind of ignore them for 5%. And for the stones of these two, for defense, obviously you want to go with defense again over here, 2000 defense. You can still go with the damage res, but defense would be much better. And for the green support one, you want to go with speed. Again, you know how much speed is important for Julius, and the higher the speed, basically the higher damage you can deal. Now let's jump to his gear. So the main sets and stats that you want to have for him is obviously this one, to have the increased magic attack, 2 sets of the starred red one, starred yellow one to have the increased speed, and also the starred purple one, either this one for the crit rate or the other one for the crit damage. This one. So again, you need to have these two, and then you can go for either crit rate or crit damage, depends on your gear sets that you have. Both of them are good. You want to have both crit rate and crit damage stat as high as you can, but I'm using crit rate for now because as you can see the crit rate isn't as high as it should be. Main stat again, magic attack, crit damage, magic attack. Go for the ones that have percents on, not the flat ones. I do have a flat one over here, which is not optimal. Obviously, I need to change the substats and re-roll it. Obviously, magic attack is the main stat, and for the substat, you want to have magic attack again, crit rate, and even crit damage. I still need to work on his gears, but at the moment, I'm using Lumiere, and I'm not using him that much. But still, with this kit, not even this one. Let me show you what I had before, because I recently updated my Julius. So this is what I had before. This is a screenshot from a previous video that I had with this level. It was 53k 110, and these are the stats and sets that I have. You can see crit rate is only 16%, crit damage 66, and accessories are all SSR regular ones. So even with this, I cleared all the challenges PvE, and I was also doing really good in PvP in the arena. So yeah, don't worry if you can't get LR gears as high as you can, or even the accessories. Even with the regular ones, still he's a pretty decent unit and you can do lots of challenges with him. But yeah, you want to focus totally in the magic attack, crit rate, and crit damage. So these three will be your main focus for Julius. A little bit of crit res and damage reduction, also defense would be good, and maybe HP, especially when you have him duped level 2 or 5, because when you revive you want to have as much HP as you can and have him a little bit tankier, so that you will die, you know, later on, and then you have more time to revive and deal damage. Other than this kind of set, you can also go with something like this, like my Lumiere. So you have 2 big sets and then 6 of the small ones with magic attack as your main stat, and you only will have 2 sets to active. And if you want to do 2 sets, you'll be doing the red one and the yellow one, not the purple one anymore. Then these 2 will be your first choices. So either go like this with 6 small ones with magic attack as your main stat, and you're gonna have 2 sets of the red and the yellow one. Or if you're gonna go 3 sets, it's best to go these 2 plus a crit rate or a crit damage, like this. Okay, so either one of these 2 ways you want to build your Julius would be fine. Both of them will be great. Just see which type of gears you have more, and then which of them you can upgrade and transcend, obviously. Now for the team building part. So Julius obviously will be your main attacker. You need units to support him. You could go with this Vengeance, the blue supporter one. He increases the speed of Julius so that he can attack faster. Also does a defense on his ult. And if you check his partner skill, the combined one, he grants defense penetration, ignores 40% of an enemy's defense for himself and the partnered mage. So you can use his combined attack with Julius, and obviously Julius has 135% increased damage over here. With the blue Vengeance also ignores 40% of the enemy's defense, and that's how you can deal heavy damage with his combined attack. Other than him, another supporter would be Sally, because she increases the magic attack of Julius, she increases crit rate and also crit damage of Julius. So she's broken, one of the great supporters in the game, not only for Julius, for anyone else, because she does basically everything, like increase attack and magic attack, increase crit damage, second skill, increase crit rate, magic attack by 84%. So this is the highest increased magic attack in the game, and also extends the buff. And again, with her combined attack, she increases magic attack by 100% for Julius, and also increases the mobility. Again, she is great. She buffs your Julius when you partner him with her, obviously, and then you can just do an extra attack with Julius based on her combined attack. So either her or the Vengeance. So that's your supporter, either her or Vengeance. You can also use both of them if you want, but I think one is enough. Again, you want to have debuffers like this reel to reduce enemies' defense and increase damage taken on the enemy, either this one or the red Charlotte. Both of them are great. You can mark the enemies with red Charlotte, so when you do a combined attack you can still do an extra attack. That's great as well. And this Kaiser is also effective. He's a defender, increases the defense of your team, reduce damage taken, and also buffs your team with increased attack and everything else. And you can also do a counter attack with him so that your Julius can deal more damage. And also the other Charlotte, if you want to use her as well, she's also a great supporter, like one of the best in the game. She increases the SP, the special point for your ult, so you can do Julius's ult faster because that's what he's really good at, and then grants debuff immunity on one of your characters. Also with her special skill, reduces damage taken from the enemy and also ignores 30% of an enemy's defense. So again, she can be really useful and buff up your Julius to do back-to-back attacks, and that's why you need to consider her in your team as well. Also, another thing that I just want to mention over here is to have a healer in your team, either this Mimosa or this one. And one crazy thing over here is that when you revive Julius with Mimosa, you can still use his Dupe passive to revive again. So here's how it goes. You die first, you get revived with his Dupe passive, right? You die again, you get revived with Mimosa's ult. And I think I haven't used this because obviously I don't have him like Dupe level 2. But the third time you die again, you can still revive with his Dupe passive. Like 3 times you can die with Julius, and the 4th will be the final one. But even if that's not the case, you still get a second revive with Mimosa, and so you can get killed 3 times in the game. That's how broken this Julius is. So anyone that can support Julius, obviously, like Sally or the blue Vengeance, could be really useful. And then anyone else to do a debuff on the enemy, or again protects your Julius, like this Mimosa and the Charlotte that I just mentioned. He does good with a lot of people, to be honest. You can also use Gifso. I already talked about him in my previous video, how broken he is, so that you'll increase the, again, damage of your Julius because he's color advantage over here, obviously. And yeah, that's it. Hope you liked this video and hope it was helpful as well. Let me know down in the comment sections what are your thoughts, what team builds you have, and if you have any other questions, I'll help as much as I can. Till next time, have fun and stay tuned.